when we start to pay attention to the magic of what is constantly communicating to us, what we are creating, coalescing, rendering into our world, and the way that that is projected and reflected back to us is just this really magical process. And so for me, that was my little nugget of just, wow. It honestly stopped me in my tracks, and I just kind of like glazed over it and was like, what the heck? It pulled me so far out of my own story. Thursday, June 25th. Appreciation is the word of the day. I just got off a 2-hour call with an entire group of people who we had all sat in a really beautiful psilocybin ceremony together in January. And the one who led the facilitation of it, I got to co-facilitate alongside her, and she has been leading these integration calls, these follow-up calls, these community calls, whatever you want to call them, as a means for keeping everyone in touch and to touch base on how the unfolding of the experience has gone since. And I was able to join for one of these calls 5 months later. Really incredible. The you know my the piece of appreciation was actually the kind of the focal point of the call, and I find myself just being here on this reflection point for my day, sitting in the appreciation for the quality of the caliber of the human being that is surrounding me each and every day. The people who I have magnetized into my field, but also the ones that I've chosen to nurture the relationships with, because there are so many people that I just am constantly learning from and that I respect and admire and am astounded by and challenged by. And that is such a gift, to be surrounded by very high quality individuals who are working to be more loving, compassionate, empathetic, kind, caring, but also to have a greater perspective, to develop strength and presence. And these are the people who I really love being surrounded by. My homework for life, for that small moment today, is a mentor of mine continues to share this one very specific message with us. And it's just walking on water, reference to Jesus as a character. Walking on water is a product of trust without conditions. It's an example of trust without conditions, of the embodiment of trust. And this has come up in topic time and time again, and I'm still exploring it because I don't actually, I'm still learning to connect with the depth of that statement. Yeah, today I was at the Ninja Gym. We brought a mobile unit to an outdoor park, and we had about, I don't know, a couple hundred kids come through it. And we lead them in these small groups, and today one of the 10 or 11-year-old girls, she runs up this big wall, and she stops at the top of the wall, and she looks right at me, and she says, "You know what?" And I said, "What?" She, out of nowhere, she just says, "I've always wanted to learn how to walk on water." And then she slides down and she keeps going. Like nothing happened, not realizing how important that statement, that phrase, has been in my awareness the last few months. And it's just fascinating to begin to open to the magic of, I don't know if you saw my hand, it's just blueberries. I just took a big handful of frozen blueberries earlier. I'm fine. um, when we start to pay attention to the magic of what is constantly communicating to us, what we are creating, coalescing, rendering into our world, and the way that that is projected and reflected back to us is just this really magical process. And so for me, that was my little nugget of just, wow. It honestly stopped me in my tracks, and I just kind of like glazed over it and was like, what the heck? It pulled me so far out of my own story that I was in this different alternate perspective for a moment, just reflecting on that. Today, the insight, the challenge, the lesson really, I notice I'm being asked to articulate myself because this is such a unique process that I'm in right now, and it's not very relatable to a lot of people. I'm finding myself challenged in the fact that I want to share bits and pieces of my story and what is occurring, my maybe not story, but my experience, but wanting to do so in a way that is able to meet people where they are able to relate to it or resonate with it. And so meeting people where they're at using language that is inclusive, that draws curiosity, as opposed to making people feel outed or isolated or dumb or any of the above. So I noticed that being the challenge today as I start to communicate more of what I'm sharing. That's all for today.